and kind of want to bring you abreast of some significant changes information that we have been provided. Joining me here this afternoon, Steve Rosa, our Emergency Management Coordinator, Charles Swagner, Sheriff of Brazoria County, Duke Payne, Commissioner Precinct 1, David Linder, Commissioner Precinct 4, and Ryan Cate, Commissioner Precinct 2, are joining me here today. As many of you are. Oh, and I'm County Judge Matt Sebesta, so thank you, Sheriff. As many of y'all have seen, Hurricane Harvey has been upgraded to a Category 4 hurricane. It is going to hit sometime overnight. It's going to hit our friends down in Aransas County, Nueces County, that area, so please continue to think and pray for them. Again, we're still looking at, in Brazoria County, 5 to 8 foot of storm surge along the coast. We're looking at probably 50 to 60 mile-an-hour winds in Brazoria County. So, told you that earlier. That's what our citizens need to prepare for. I also mentioned that we were going to have significant rain, and that's going to be stretched over the next 4 to 5 days. And so that is where we've got some new information this evening from our National Weather Service hydrologists that have given us some additional information. You can see from this, you've got a handout on it, but this chart, you can see in the white area is, just for illustration, is Wharton County. We are east of there, but we're in the 15 to 30 inch rainfall, locally up to 40 inches. That is a lot of rain on flat land, and that is going to be over the next 4 to 5 days. We don't know if most of that's going to come in the next 2 days or if it's going to be day 3 or day 4. But we have 2 rivers in Brazoria County that pick up a lot of that rainfall, as well as our bios and that type of thing. So I'm going to take that one down and go to the next one. And on this one, what you see are some dots on there of different colors. And the purple dots are going to be areas of significant river crest. The white dots are record crest. And so we're going to talk about that in a few minutes, but that one that you see left of Lake Jackson, the white one, is the San Bernard River. The 2 that you see above that are purple. Those are on the Brazos River. And then you see one above that in the Rosenberg area that is white. That, again, is the Brazos River. So that is telling us that we're going to see catastrophic flooding from this rain event over the next few days. Over to my right, you see the Brazos River, and you see that is the gauge at Rocheron. That is the historical gauge that we've always looked at. And you see us right down here in the 7.16. That was probably this morning, or actually 5 p.m. today. River's running empty. You see a significant ramp up, and we're talking fast. That is the estimated water that is coming from the skies from Hurricane Harvey. And we're looking at 5 p.m. on August 28th, which is Monday, 52.2 feet. Let's put that in perspective. Last summer, we were at 52.56 feet, just 4 inches below that level. We're going to be at 52.2 feet at Rocheron on Monday afternoon, according to the National Weather Service hydrologist. Tornado warning. We're in a good location. Leave that up there for a minute, Steve. That is going to be what's in the river. If you remember last year, the river flooding we had was based on no rainfall that landed in Brazoria County. That was all to our friends to the north of us. This is going to be water that is to our friends to the north flowing down the river, plus 15 to 30, maybe 40 inches of rain falling on us. We're going to be wet and soggy on top of the river coming out, or the water coming out of the Brazos River. So anyone that was affected by river flooding in the Brazos River last year, you will be affected over the next week. We're asking our citizens that are along the Brazos River in that floodplain need to prepare now. We will be coming forth with voluntary evacuations shortly on the Brazos River. We will be coming forth next week. If this projection holds true, we'll be calling for mandatory evacuations along the Brazos River. So we're wanting folks to start preparing now. That is going to be a significant event. It will be very similar, except a lot wetter. Look at the weather that's going on outside. Last year, people had dry weather to prepare to get out. The next 4 or 5 days, we're going to have the weather that we have on us right now. We're going to have rain bands coming in. We're going to have wind. We're going to have flooding on top of that. So folks need to get that going now. The next one that I want to talk about, Steve, thank you, is the San Bernard River. We're right here, 12.6 feet right now. The record level from 1998, the record crest near Sweeney, is at 23.9 feet. We're looking at, by Tuesday, we're going to be 31.4 feet. If my math holds correct, that's about 7 feet above the record. At this time, I am calling for a voluntary evacuation for all homes along the San Bernard River. We will be calling for a mandatory evacuation through some of those areas tomorrow. We're waiting on some maps from some of our hydrologists so we can see just where we will be affected. But I am encouraging anyone along the San Bernard River to prepare to get out. And if you're ready to get out now. If this rain comes down like we're being projected, we're going to have significant flooding along the San Bernard, 6 to 7.5 feet above the record from 1998. So with that being said, I would like to open it up to any questions.
How many people do you have that live in homes along the San Bernard?
I don't have that information at this time. Like I said, we're just an hour or two into this information. We're trying to get as much of this. I would hazard to guess plus or minus 3,000 to 5,000.
And we're looking at Monday, Tuesday.
We're looking at this level being on Tuesday, but the record in 1998, that's that line right here. That line crosses tomorrow at 5 p.m. Now, it's based on some assumptions. Right now, we have the rain is not on the ground. The water is not on the ground. That's based on some assumptions from the National Weather Service, based on this rainfall intensities, based on what they're seeing on the radar. We're having a Category 4 hurricane that's hitting the Texas coast tonight. We've been hearing all day about this is the first Category 3 storm to hit the Texas coast since 1983. That's 34 years ago. Hurricane Alicia. This is going to be a much bigger deal than Hurricane Alicia. This is an historic event. This is, matter of fact, I think the strongest storm that has hit since 2005, going back 12 years. If y'all remember, that includes Hurricanes Ike and Katrina that were on us in 2005. So people need to be aware. This is significant rainfall that is being projected. We're already seeing some rainfalls of 4 to 6 inches throughout the county. And it's going to be raining like this overnight. It's going to be raining for the next 3 to 5 days, solid, according to the National Weather Service. It's a lot of rain. It's got to go somewhere. And we need to look at, if you've seen the projections on what Hurricane Harvey is going to do. It's going to come in. It's going to go inland for a little bit and sit. And it is going to creep up the Texas coast. It's going to creep up to us through about Tuesday. And if you look at the counterclockwise rotation on a hurricane, that is throwing right hooks into the Texas coast. So look at that as you see that counterclockwise rotation coming around the center of Hurricane Harvey. It is just pushing water up. So it is basically building somewhat of a dam on our rivers and bayous so that they are going to have difficulty pushing water and draining water to the Gulf of Mexico. Until that center of rotation it's past us and to our east, where it's more of an offshore flow, we're going to have significant issues getting water drained out of here into the Gulf of Mexico. So please keep that in mind. So with that being said, yes, Caitlin.
Sorry. Earlier today you were talking about one shelter opening in Angleton.
Yes, ma'am. We are going to be ginning up and opening more. We're going to also be working with our state resources. We will be getting buses in here, and we will be taking people and providing that to get to Belton, that is our point-to-point contact on evacuations what we used with Hurricane Ike in 2008, and we'll be working with our friends Judge Burrows and the commissioners up there to work with them on housing people there while we undergo this. So we're in the process of getting that coordinated. Like I said, information is hot off the press. So we will be pushing more information out, but for the time being, we're calling for a voluntary evacuation all along the San Bernard River in Brazoria County, and we will be calling for mandatory evacuations as soon as we can define the area that needs to be evacuated. So
if you're on the river, how soon should you leave?
I'd leave in the morning. We're going to be at the 1998, according to this, 22 hours from now. They will be matching the historic 1998 crest, and then it will climb up over the next few days. So folks need to be ready to go ASAP. So they need to be scooting tomorrow.
And where is the location of the one Angleton shelter that's open?
It is at 1900 North Downing Street. It is the old Angleton High School. It's by the administration building. It's the old gym back behind there. So, yes, sir.
What distance are you talking about in terms of from the rivers themselves to the east and west are you recommending evacuations?
On the Brazos River, we're talking from the Angleton Protection Levee over to about 521, and then we're going over to the Brazos River. It mostly comes out of the east side of the river, up in the Rocheron area, and unfortunately, our citizens that were here a year ago and 2 years ago have gone through this exercise. The bad thing is this is a much quicker event. With that, we had a lot of time to plan because the rainfall landed 100 miles north of us. We're going to have rainfall 100 miles north of us, 50 miles north of us, 10 miles north of us, and on top of us, all at the same time. So it's going to be a much faster acting event than it was last year.
Judge, for those that might have cattle, animals, we forget about those. Any suggestions?
Yes, we have at the fairgrounds. We started our animal shelter. Folks that have cattle need to start moving them as quick as they can. So they've been through the routine, but they need to start moving animals pretty quick. Good question. So, but we got our animal shelter started today.
That's at the fairgrounds?
Yes, ma'am. Are there any other questions?
One thing they need to remember is that they're going to be evacuating this time in downpours. 30, 40, 50 mile an hour winds and downpours. So, excuse me.
Yes, sir. Come on over here.
They need to remember that this time they're going to be evacuating in downpours. We've got the heavy rains that are due through possibly next Thursday that we could have the rains. This event is going to take place by Monday and Tuesday. So they're going to be evacuating in downpours with winds of 30, 40, 50 mile an hour. So they need to be very careful with everything they do.
Excellent point, Sheriff. Thank you.
You said to leave in the morning. For anybody who's hearing this now, would you recommend that they not be out driving, especially in the dark and the rain?
That's going to be their personal call. I'm not going to tell anybody they can't leave. If their comfort level is to leave, I'm just going to ask them to be extraordinarily careful. So, but I think they have until tomorrow to leave. Bad thing is, I think we're going to have these rains, as the sheriff said, through Wednesday or Thursday of next week, just because they cannot predict exactly where and what Hurricane Harvey is going to do. Very weak steering currents up above there, so that's why it's going to sit for a few days, continue just to push water and rain. The radar we looked at earlier in our National Weather Service call, this thing is offshore of Corpus Christi. It is throwing rain bands into Louisiana. So it is a very wide footprint storm. It's become a very dangerous storm. Any other questions? All righty. Appreciate each and every one of y'all being here.
Thank you.
Thank y'all.
Thank you.